almost all people in the Muhammadan Muslim world of Ummah Muhammad, as well as those who support the cause of the Palestinians anywhere in the world, do not actually know the facts behind the conflict or the origin of the names Palestine or Jew. In their erroneous perceptions, based almost entirely upon what they read or watch from a very biased media, the Palestinians are the underdog, the David against the Israeli Goliath. Three of the greatest tragedies of humanity are: 1. Ignorance of facts. 2. The refusal to learn from the best teacher of all time, history. 3. Invariably, the escape of the simplest truths from their attention. Ignorance allows the individual human being to be controlled, deceived, and manipulated by mostly selfish, arrogant, and unprincipled leaders. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Tragically, humanity assiduously repeats it in almost every generation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an unfortunate reality that the simplest truths and facts invariably escape the attention or the intellect of most human beings, as I shall presently demonstrate. Most of the peoples that we know of, such as the Sumerians, Babylonians, Assyrians, Greeks, Persians, Romans, Egyptians, Aztecs, Mayas, Chinese, Indians, Europeans, etc., have left their mark on history with their legacy of writings and their monuments, or are mentioned by their neighbors or contemporaries. The Palestinian people, obviously, if they truly existed, should also have left their mark or are mentioned by others. If our academics, historians, politicians, and others are so sure that Palestine and its people go back throughout most of recorded history, one would expect them to be able to answer a few very simple and basic questions about the alleged country of Palestine and its people, the Palestinians. For example, when was the country of Palestine founded and by whom? Where did the Palestinian people originate from? What were Palestine's borders? Who were its neighbors? What language did the Palestinians speak? What writing did they use? What manuscripts or records did they leave, whether written or engraved? What was their religion? Where are their temples? What monuments attest to their existence? What was the name of their capital? Name its other major cities. What was their currency called? Are there any coins that attest to their economy? What was Palestine's form of government? Name its kings or rulers. What were their achievements? With what other people did the Palestinians interact? Where can we find any records wherein the name of the country of Palestine or its people are mentioned? What archaeological sites can one name? Where can one find the recorded history of these people? Whom did they conquer or were conquered by? Was Palestine ever recognized by a country whose existence at that time or even now leaves no room for misunderstanding? Can anyone name at least 5 Palestinian leaders before Arafat? Since there is no such recognized country today, what caused its demise and when did it occur? Those who are lamenting the low sinking of a once proud nation, please tell us, when exactly was this proud nation brought down? By whom was it brought down? Also, what was it so proud of? And here are some very important historical facts and further relevant questions. Not even under the Ottoman Empire's 500 years occupation was the name of Palestine used for any part or section of the Holy Land for administrative purposes. If there were an entity called Palestine and its people Palestinians, it would beggar logic and belief that the Muslim Ottomans would not denote the area with their name. After World War I, the British Mandate administered this very territory with the name Palestine, encompassing what is Jordan of today, as well as the territories of Israel, Gaza, and the West Bank. Palestine, after all, is only a name, bequeathed to history by the victorious Romans over the Jews of Judea. Contrary to their original mandate, the British unilaterally cut off from Palestine the territory east of the Jordan River and gave it to King Abdullah of the Hashemites, 35,637 square miles. What was left of mandated Palestine, 10,330 square miles, or 22% of the original, was divided by the United Nations between the Jews and the Arabs. If there was a geographic entity with the name Palestine and its people Palestinians, why is there no mention in the United Nations documents of the Palestinian people but only of the Jewish people? Why were those alleged Palestinian people identified only as Arabs? Why are the refugees called Arab refugees and not Palestinian refugees by the United Nations if there were a territory identified as Palestine? If the people arbitrarily and mistakenly calling themselves Palestinians are anything but generic Arabs collected from all over the Arab and Muslim world, if they really have a genuine ethnic identity that gives them the right for self-determination, why then did they not declare their independence between the years 1948 to 1967? After all, during this long period of 19 years, there were no Israelis in the West Bank or Gaza. There were no settlements and there was no so-called Jewish occupation. Why did these Palestinians not declare their independence after 1948, but allow themselves to be occupied and marginalized for 19 years by their brother Jordanians in the West Bank and their brother Egyptians in Gaza? Why did the media and academia in the West not mention or be enraged by that occupation and oppression not even once during the whole of its 19 years? Why were they deafeningly silent when the Arabs occupy the lands of other Arabs, but are indignant when anyone else occupies a square inch of any Arab or Muslim country, even when done in a justifiable war of self-defense? Why did the United Nations not have a single resolution condemning the Jordanian and Egyptian occupation of so-called Palestinian land during 19 whole years?